politics. And in the beginning, it may start out as being as simple as working in some campaigns. I remember working in phone banks and things like that. But it may require financial contributions for you to become known and recognized as being a player. And by those, and not to just do it for that reason, but it helps the community to get the people you think are most qualified to do that. And then I think obviously leverage those relationships in your own practice area.
And I was just going to add briefly, never turn down a speaking engagement. If someone asks you to speak, even as Donna mentioned, if you have to learn the area, it's a great opportunity to get yourself out there, but make sure you're prepared. I recently agreed to speak at an insurance law seminar, and I truly thought it was going to be a waste of my time. I had to look up all the new insurance cases for the year and figure out what the trends were and that kind of thing, and spent a good bit of time on it, and I'm thinking there's nothing that's going to come of this. I'm just going to walk down, give my hour, and that'll be that. But when I was done, actually a general counsel of a large corporation approached me and said, we'd like to talk to you about your firm doing some work for us. And so had I not been there, certainly I would never have made that connection. And so it was very much worthwhile to go ahead and put that time in on the front end and be prepared and show up and do a fairly decent job and get that connection. And also I was going to kind of define a little bit more about what I said about joining a group and getting involved in that. Get involved in a smart way. Pick an area of that group that will connect you with clients. In the IADC, I've been fortunate enough to be put on some committees that deal with federal legislation, amending the civil rules, the rules of civil procedure in federal court, and the proponents of those changes are corporations. And so when you make contact with the people that are pushing for defense-favorable changes, they're heads of corporations, and so that's a good contact to make, rather than another committee might sound like maybe more fun or a little bit interesting, but it's not going to really further your client contacts. So, work smart when you're talking.
I'm sure you remember it's about the economy stupid, it's about the client stupid. And what we're dealing with is not so much law firms or solo practice versus a firm practice. What we're dealing with are individuals that can make a client feel very comfortable about whom they go to for their consult, because you are, as a lawyer, their lawyer, and you have to kill yourself for your client. If you really want to make business, and you really want to make so-called brain, it's really about the client stupid. And once you get that, it doesn't matter what law firm you're with. You can be with the biggest law firm on earth, but they're going to ask for you, even if you can't do a complicated tax issue. You or Donna Klein or Lee, or you will be called to be asked, Peggy, I need your help. Please tell me, what do I do about this problem? For the most part, lawyers become problems for their clients because we're extremely expensive. No corporation in America is excited about their legal budget next year, especially in a downturn time. They don't want us. They want us only when they absolutely have to have us, when they absolutely need us. So how do we distinguish ourselves and become, for them, a we can't do without you kind of person? And with that, it doesn't matter what law firm you're with, because if you pick the right law firm to be with, they'll trust that you will get the answer for them and do it cheaply, efficiently, and competently. And the second point I'll make, whether you're in sole practice or whether you're with a law firm, whether you distinguish yourself as Donna has in a special practice, which is healthcare law, and you know your field of law, you know it well, and you're competent to do it, you respond to your clients, you do all the other tips that you've heard about, learned about today, you'll continue to hear about. What I think is really, really important for you to understand is that you have to be comfortable doing this. Put yourself in your client's shoes. There's no advice that I can give you about being a rainmaker that I think is any more substantial than that. Have you ever been a client? How many of you have been a client? Then you know. And what do you want from your lawyer? Well, that you got to figure out very quickly. You want your lawyer not to charge you, number one, but you want the absolute best advice. You want your lawyer to win for you. You have a problem that needs a solution, whether it's closing your house and you want it to be done quickly, you want it to be done yesterday, whether it's to win a big case, whether it's to respond to a set of interrogatories the way you think they need to be responded. Put yourself in your client's shoes, and I think that's the best advice that I can give.
What are some client development techniques that we can utilize as well?
I think I just told you mine.
Yeah. Well, we can add, I mean, there are some marketing strategies out there, business intelligence that some of the larger firms, I think, make use of, and I think that smaller firms or solo practitioners probably do similar kinds of things with respect to whatever that level of client involvement is or the type of client. But many firms have client interviews, often after a project. What did we do well? What didn't we do well? What can we do better for you in the future? Many firms will have, I know ours has done this, have what they call top-to-top kind of programs where the managing partner of the firm, who may have nothing to do with, and likely has nothing to do with that practice area, that client, will meet with the general counsel, whoever assigns the work, top to top. They don't take the relationship attorney there. They go and say, look, I'm in charge of the firm, and you're a valuable client, and I'd really like to know what you think about our firm. What do we do or don't do that other firms do? And it's an eye-opener, and often you can bring back other kinds of work, because generally, at least in larger firms or that have multiple practice areas, they don't always know everything that your firm does, because the individual attorneys just sort of focus on what they do for the client. So there could be other opportunities out there for your firm if you do that. Cross-selling within the firm, is another strategy, and developing, I think, referral sources, relationships with referral sources over the years is another, because not all attorneys do everything. And where there's conflicts, often, I mean, Donna's referred to me, I referred to Donna, because Donna's been well known in the field as well, she is too. But you can develop those referral relationships.
And I was just going to echo something that Peggy said earlier about
You're a little young for senior moments.
I know, I'm not actually is the problem.
Don't talk about, I feel like I'm the oldest person here.
I don't know about that. I started when I was 10. I've been practicing for 33 years, so do the math, right?
It is about, it's the client stupid, so that was Donna's take, but over time you develop personal relationships with your clients as well, because you're in the trenches at trial, or you're working late at night, or there's something that needs to be done. And I think that it's helpful to be yourself in your client development, to let your personality and who you are come through to the people that you meet along the way. And by doing that, they also feel, a connection to you that's above and beyond the work that you do, and it establishes a level of trust that I think is invaluable when people want to come to you. And the thing that I was forgetting is that don't underestimate your lawyer connections as marketing tools, especially on a national level. When you join some of these big groups, you'll meet lawyers from all different states who are heads of their firm and managing partners, or have integral roles in their firms. And when a client will come to them and say, who do you know in Louisiana? When you have a good relationship with them and they know you well enough to know that you would provide good work for this client, they'll refer that work to you. And so over time, I've gotten business that way as well, and it's from other lawyers.
Let me just talk a little bit about sole practitioners and client development, and address some of the things that Dr. Klein mentioned. Obviously, when you are working alone or with one or two other lawyers, you don't really have the opportunity to talk with other people about how did we do on this particular job, except from the client. And in a sole practitioner's environment, or at least in my practice, let me say that, I tend to do work in a piecemeal kind of way. Somebody comes with a specific